This is Brent Allen Winters, commonlawyer.com, www.commonlawyer.com. We're on question 167 of the Catechism of the Constitution of the United States, question 167. No. Miss Francine's looking for the button to correct me. Question 267. Out of 333 questions, Arthur J. Stansbury published 1828. The Catechism on the Constitution of the United States, question 267, says this: why are not judges elected from time to time like members of the House of Representatives or senators? We're talking about federal judges. We're not talking about state judges. The Constitution of the United States is about federal government, not state government. It limits the actions of those in federal government. And why is it that we elect representatives for the House of Representatives, U.S. Congress? We elect senators for the U.S. Senate. And why is it we don't elect the federal judges? What does he say? If judges held their places at the mere good pleasure of the people, they would be greatly tempted to act in a partial and improper manner in order to please those who chose them to office, namely who? The militia of the several states takes a vote. Well, if the militia of the several states is the one that keeps you in office, what are you going to spend your time doing? Playing up to them. That's what you'll do. Have you ever noticed that people in elected positions in the popular majority principle legislatures, their majority principle, they never stop playing up to the crowd. They never stop trying to get FaceTime on television and the internet. They never stop grandstanding. Non-stop. It appears despicable. It certainly is distasteful. And they look stupid. Why? Because they are. Now, that's not a criticism of our traditional way of doing things. I'm just making the fact of the matter. I remember lessons I learned running for office. I ran for office for 5 hard years. That's all I did. You want to get into Congress, that's all you do. You devote your life to it. You put all your money into it, then you mortgage your house. And if the rest of the world doesn't see that you have done that, they won't help you. It's all or nothing. But here's the problem. And I learned this. For 5 years, I never read a book. Never. My attention to the Bible was waning. I'd get up to make a speech, and pretty soon I realized I'm making a speech about information I'm drawing from reserves that I had compiled over the years of knowledge and information. And by the time I got to the end of that 5 years, my reserve was used up. The things I was saying were stale. I was drinking from a stagnant pool, not a running stream. I remember one time I was asked to speak at a church, which I often did when I was running for office. And I did. I put together what I wanted to say. And when I got done, I felt empty and dry. I was just at it for 5 years. Can you imagine being in office for 10, 20, 30 years? That's why when you meet those folk, they look at you, shake your hand, smile, and they're perfunctory. Lights on. Nobody's home. You're talking to what could be compared to a cadaver. There's not much there. Why? It's not possible, my friends, to stay in office and know anything really substantive. That's all forgotten. What are you dealing with? You're dealing with the here and the now. And by the time you've dealt with the here and now here, you've moved to the next here and now. I've often wondered, and I know how it is, DJ Trump, if you want to be president of the United States, do you have time really contemplate deeply what you're doing and why you're doing it? And the answer is no, you don't. You've got the reserves you compiled over life. You're drawing on that. Hopefully, you got enough in your tank to get you through office, because you're going to run dry quick. DJ Trump spends all of his time, and this is the way it has to be, doing what? Campaigning. That's what he's doing. He has to sell what he wants to the Americans at large in order to have the backing to get done what he wants to do. There isn't any other way to do it. That's the way it's designed. That's the political side of government. But I'm just making the point. It's a sacrifice to do that, because you're drawing out of what you have compiled over the years. And if you have not compiled a reserve of something true and substantive in your life before you got into office, you're not worthless. You're dangerous, and most of them are. That's my studied, humble testimony about what goes on in politics. It's a necessary evil. I remember hearing that fellow stand up. I think he was on drugs. A congressman stand up. No, he was sitting down. He was questioning somebody in the Trump administration or something. And he was concerned about closing down a military installation on the island of Guam. And I think they said they were going to move the troopers and the equipment to the other side of the island, something like that. And he said, in good faith, he wasn't joking. He said, my concern is, you can go to YouTube and watch it. My concern is that if we move all that to the other side of the island, it will submerge that side of the island. When Gerald Ford was vice president before Nixon resigned, I went to a state university not far from where I lived. He was coming there to speak. That was at the time that people were clamoring for Richard Nixon to release the tapes of all the telephone conversations and meetings in the Oval Office. And he said they're privileged. Well, I went to the Supreme Court. But at that time, the vice president was Gerald Ford. He came to speak. I went to hear him. I was a young fellow then. He's the one that said, not saying he's a stupid man, but you get empty after a while in politics. He said that Abraham Lincoln, of course, is the hero of the Republican Party. See, and every year, the local Republican Party in your county will probably have what they call a Lincoln Day dinner. That's among the largest events the Republican Party will put on in your area. The Democrats will put on an event called a Kennedy Day dinner, because he's their big hero. Well, Gerald Ford said that, talking about Abe Lincoln, he was the first Republican president. At the convention in Chicago, Illinois, back in 1860. So he's held up high, and he said Abe Lincoln was a man who was born in a log cabin. Is that true? Yeah, true. Abe Lincoln he's a Southerner. His whole family were Southerners from deep in the bluegrass, that's Kentucky, the Blue Ridge. They migrated out of the Blue Ridge into the Bluegrass Basin. And he was born in a log cabin in Kentucky in the year 1809. By the way, the president of the Confederacy was born in a log cabin in Kentucky in 1809 as well. Both of them born in a log cabin in Kentucky. But Gerald Ford made the point that Abe Lincoln was born in a log cabin, and then he added that he had built with his own hands. born in a log cabin he had built with his own hands. Now, Gerald Ford knew better than that. But you make so many speeches, you say so many things that you get empty and you don't even know what you're saying anymore. I was interviewed when I was running for Congress, and I had a fella driving me around. 27 counties, I didn't know where I was most of the time until they told me. Just making one speech after another, they had the events lined up. I go to them at a fairgrounds, I go to them at an assembly, a community building. I would go to them at a Lions Club. I'd go to them at a church, just nonstop. I get out of the car and the guy was driving, I said, "Where are we?" "We're in Marion County. We're in Jackson County. We're in Pulaski County. We're in Wabash County. We're in Edwards County, Wayne County." "Oh, okay. I know some of those folks. So, well, what are we doing here?" And then I'd ask him, and I'd be zoned. Didn't have enough sleep. Remember when DJ was running? He was doing that all over the country. All he was doing was talking, campaigning. That's still what he does. I can tell looking at him now. He's wore plumb out, friends. Wore plumb out. He's doing the best he can. He's staying on top of it. But no, when you're running for office and you're in office, nobody contributes any energy to you. Nobody. No, they suck it out of you. Non-stop. If you don't have a massive reserve before you start, it'll kill you. That's been my experience for what it's worth. And I was running in 27 counties. It was pretty big. Well, I appreciate what's going on with these fellows, but just understand, if you're elected to office, like a member of a legislature like Congress or your state legislature, your only job is to stay there if you can, for the sake of those that put you there. And that means you never stop campaigning. As Morton Blackwell says, good politics is good campaigning, and good campaigning is good politics. You can't separate the two. They're the same thing. Well, that's my point. So judges are not in that position. And judgeships are called, and the courts are called, the non-political branch of government. And these U.S. judges are appointed, and they stay there for life by the terms of our Constitution until and unless the Congress of the United States impeaches them, the Senate of the United States tries them, and throws their carcass out of office for bad behavior, whatever that means. What does it mean? Whatever Congress wants it to mean. Don't think it ever means anything else. There is no other standard. If Congress wants them out, that's the end of it. They can throw them out. If judges held their places at the mere good pleasure of the people, they would be greatly tempted to act in a partial and improper manner in order to please those who chose them to office and to keep their favor. That's what a politician wants, see? But when they know that no man or number of men can turn them out of office, so long as they do their duty, they administer justice without fear and with an equal regard to all who ask for it. Life sentences for judges is a good thing for that reason. If you think if the federal judge thought the president could throw him out of office, he'd be doing whatever the president wants him to do so he could keep his job and his pay and his prestige. Now, Congress can throw him out, but there's a pretty tough process in place to do it. And by the way, a judge shouldn't care one way or the other if he's really devoted to the law. This is Brent Allen Winters, commonlawyer.com, www.commonlawyer.com. Go to the website, commonlawyer.com. Take advantage of the books by yours truly written there. And for a donation of whatever it says, we'll want to send you those resources. The book, Excellence of the Common Law, Comparing and Contrasting Our Law of the Land with the Law of the City, 958 pages. Comparing and contrasting it through history. How did this happen? these two great traditions of religion, law, and government. There have always been at odds among men and have remained at odds and are responsible for all the conflicts in politics and among country. Do you think you know something about politics? If you don't know what the common law tradition is, or the law of the city tradition, the great antagonist of our common law, how can you understand politics at all? Truth is, you can't, because there isn't anything else but the law of the land and the law of the city, and those two traditions are at odds. That's what brings the odds at the fundamental level and the adversity. Well, you can get that book. You can get the winterized Bible. A common lawyer translates and annotates the Bible from the original tongues, over 35,000 footnotes explaining why I translate the way I do or don't do, and over 200 appendices tracing major themes through the warp and the woof of the text of the context of the Bible. I call it toward a raw translation because I don't want to cook the book. I want to deliver it up just the way it came to me in the original tongue, the Koine Greek of the Older Testament and the Hebrew and Chaldee of the Koine Greek of the Newer Testament and the Hebrew and Chaldee of the Older Testament. The translation, I did it for myself. I'm the target audience. I've translated it so I'd have all those footnotes and all those appendices when I teach the Bible. If you have it while you're listening to us here, you can see things. I don't talk about all of them, but there's always something to say. Always. You can have it in digital form or in hard copy. Book. There's a book there at the website, commonlawyer.com. You can procure a book called Don't Talk to the Police, explaining our common law doctrine called the right to remain silent. It's been put in our Constitution. A book on the right, the duty, that is what a right is, to keep and carry a gun. Our 4 militia clauses. There are 4 militia clauses of our Constitution. The only militia clause anybody knows anything about is the last of the 4, called the Second Amendment, but there are 3 others, and they fit together perfectly. And that book is about those militia clauses, the history of our common law militia, who the militiaman is in America, who he answers to, courses, law courses, about a dozen law courses of 18 hours apiece, and some of them many more, but at least 18. They're in the can, audio and visual. You can get them, procure them, in appreciation of a donation. Cases on the common law trust. The common law trust. Miss Francine, if people get the family Bible now, I've got it in the works to get it in hard copy and include a common law trust document with the family Bible, also including pages for records of birth, marriage, death, and land transfer, a family trust, the entrustment of your family goods, your family land. That all goes together for inheritance rights, you see. Who are your children? All goes together. And that's what the family Bible is for. It's a matter of evidence. That's why people used to have them. We don't see them much anymore. Does that say something about the lowering and degrading of the importance of the family and family property? You got a family? You want to leave it to your children? You need to get that family Bible. The family Bibles that are ordered now, that's what we got in the works to get done. I haven't got it done yet, but I'm pretty close. I work on it persistently. It's developed like this over the years. You can also get it with all the footnotes, hard copy or digital form, or both. It's up to 5 volumes now. 5 volumes. Well, you can get all those things at commonlawyer.com, the law school. Of course, you can come to church with us on Sunday. You can go to Rumble and listen to us talk. There's probably hundreds of archived presentations there as we go through the laws of nature's God, the Bible. Miss Francine, would you play us a song and then we'll come back? We'll begin on question 268 next time, Miss Francine, Lord willing, of Stansbury's Catechism on the Constitution of the United States. This is Brent Allen Winters, commonlawyer.com, www.commonlawyer.com.